Hello YouTubers, so I want to expound on my last post about a retro game bubble, and I want to explore some of the reasons that I hear, or what I'm led to believe, is the main cause to this resurgence and price inflation. I mean, first off, we do have price inflation. A dollar today doesn't buy what a dollar back in 1988 does, right? So that's a given. But it's deeper than that, and one of the most interesting theories I've heard is all of us, if we grew up with the Game Boy system, or the regular Nintendo, or Super Nintendo, depending how old or young you are, if you're like me, you had a bunch of games and you would trade for games, and then you had a decent library, and it took a while to build it up. It cost a lot of money. As far as myself, I kept the boxes, I kept the instructions, I kept my games, and I can't remember what happened to them. You know, like I had Faxanadu for the NES and Metroid. I have no idea where they went. The only thing I could think of was I probably went to FuncoLand, traded them all in, traded in probably 30 Nintendo games and a Nintendo for 2 Super Nintendo games. I think that's probably what happened. I can't remember. My memory of that time is gone. I wish I still had them, but when I first got back into emulation, which was my first step back into the scene, I noticed, wow, there's all these games from my past. But then you want to take a step further, so you may want to repurchase that Faxanadu cartridge. So the theory goes, us, now that we're older and we have jobs and we have disposable income, we can go and buy that copy of Duck Hunt or Faxanadu or Gyromite, whichever one it is, or the first Zelda or the first Game Boy Advance. That makes sense to a degree, but it doesn't explain why prices have exploded. For example, in 2003, I would buy lots on eBay for 20% of the price of what they're worth today. So I would buy a Super Nintendo and about 10 games for $60, whereas today, the same lot would cost $400. It's just in 8 years. That doesn't make sense. That's way above the price of inflation. So if you follow it to the logical conclusion, when we're old farts and we're 80, does that mean there'll be no market for Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Nintendo, Super Nintendo cartridges? There's more to this price explosion than that. I don't think that many games were thrown in the landfill. I don't think it's us with disposable income, our generation, that's bidding up the prices, because it's been going on for years now, right? It's just all of a sudden in the past 2-3 years the prices have exploded out of nowhere, and I can't find a valid excuse or reason for it. But it is an interesting thing if you think about it. So I've got the bug, and I'm collecting here and there, you know, I'm trying to buy lots and break it out and then sell what I don't want. But, you know, my budget is limited, I have a family. I can't really spend all that, and to buy a complete in-box is almost unattainable for most games. But does that mean what I'm collecting today, do I think this will be passed on to my children? Because they won't have the memories that I did of playing the original Metroid and Faxanadu. So when I die, when our generation dies, does the value of this entire era of video gaming go with it? Because don't forget, our children who are being born today, no console in existence will be in their memory banks. They will have, you know, they'll be up to PlayStation 5, if it even exists then, right? So is buying video games kind of cyclical, and it goes through kind of a life cycle? So think about it. When we're 5, the systems that we have, 5 to 10, those systems, as soon as they get replaced by 1 or 2 generations later, the prices plummet, right? So you can buy Duck Hunt, Super Mario Brothers for $1, right? But then 10, 15 years later, when those kids that were 10 are 25, 30, and they have jobs, they go back to try to find those games, and they go from being $1 to 10, 15, 20, 50, $300, depending on the rarity, depending on the condition. I don't know if that's the truth. I don't believe it personally. I think there is a price bubble. I think things are being inflated purposely, and I do think that things will crash, unfortunately. Where is level ground? I don't know. But if you're collecting video games for any other reason than nostalgia, I don't know. We might be in for a rude awakening. Let me know what you think.